These are the 10 best tips and tricks for the RayBan Meta Gen 2s, as well as some must-know hidden features that you really don't want to miss. So let's dive right into it. And starting it off is of course updating your glasses to the latest software release. So in that way, you can be sure to have all the new features and settings that come with them. And to check this, head over to your phone and go to the Meta AI app. Now in here, you want to click on the glasses itself to open up the general settings menu. And with all that is left to do is simply click on the updates and check that everything is installed correctly. And if you want, you can also choose to turn on the automatic update feature in here to make the process even quicker. Or on the other hand, you can also keep it off if you prefer to do this manually. But moving on, we have number 2, and that is the adaptive audio. Now right out of the box, the RayBan Gen 2s have some amazing built-in speakers that you can find on the bottom on each side of the frames. However, you might quickly notice that when you're listening to music, for example, that the overall volume will often change by itself depending on how loud it is in your surroundings, which can often be pretty annoying. And this happens because of the so-called adaptive audio feature that is turned on by default on all Meta glasses. So to change this, just head over to the audio tab, in which you'll be able to toggle it off directly. And the nice extra is that this will also save you a bunch of battery while you're still able to control your volume by swiping either left or right on the side of your frames. And talking about the side of the glasses is the next hidden feature, which is the secret customizable touchpad. Because besides just controlling your volume here, you might already know that you can also pause your songs by tapping once and skip to the next one by tapping twice, or even go back completely by tapping on it 3 times. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can also hold your finger on the touchpad a bit longer to activate your very own personalized command. So to set this to your own preferences, scroll down in your settings until you see Customize Control and click on Touchpad. Now most likely this is still set to none, but you can change these to, for example, start your Meta AI without first having to say "Hey Meta" ever again. Or you can also toggle on Quick Connect, which lets you share a message or image with one specific contact of your choosing. However, to take this even further, you can also make it use any specific app that you have unlocked inside your glasses, which gets us directly to the next tip, and that is how you can get and connect a lot of apps from your phone to your Ray-Bans itself. So in that way, you can truly get the most out of this feature in the first place. Since besides just using your Ray-Bans with these standard Meta applications, such as texting on WhatsApp and Messenger, or maybe posting photos directly to your Instagram, Meta has now also made it possible to use third-party applications instead, which you can find under the App Connection tab. And these can go from your Amazon and Apple Music to even your good old Spotify or even Shazam. So that means that besides just listening to your favorite songs or podcasts, you can also quickly identify what music is playing in your surroundings, or maybe use some of the other apps to listen to your favorite audiobook while at the same time checking out your stats of the latest run that you just did. And that all from within your own glasses without the need to use your phone. And of course, you can expect a lot of new ones to get added to this list over time, which will kind of create even more cool new ways for you to use your glasses. So make sure to check these out every now and then. But that gets us to one of the most important things, and that is how you can improve the recording quality of your cameras. Because while the RayBan Meta Gen 2s now finally have the possibility to record videos in up to 3K in resolution, you will need to manually turn this option on, because otherwise you will get that same old 1080p quality instead. So to do this, go to your Media tab and click on Video Settings, where you will see the current quality that your glasses are on at the moment. Now when clicking on it, you have the option to either change these to higher frame rates per second or the previously mentioned higher resolution, depending on what you want from it. Although, just keep in mind that when selecting 3K, your maximum video length will also become shorter at the total of 3 minutes, instead of those 5 minutes that you have when you choose the 1080p version. So if you prefer taking longer videos, then this is something to keep in mind. But while on the topic of shooting some good videos, another cool secret feature that can be found here is when we take a closer look at the capture button. Since this one will normally let you take a picture if you press it once, or you can start a recording with it if you hold the button for a bit longer. But what Meta doesn't clearly tell you in its user manual is that if you press it twice while you're on a video call, then the camera view will directly switch from your phone to your glasses. And in that way, you can show off your own point of view to wherever you're calling with without ever having to take your phone out of your pocket. However, that also gets us to maybe the most essential upgrade that you can make to your glasses, and that is none other than when it comes to the optics itself. And while Meta luckily does have a bunch of different options to choose from that can go all the way from some basic clear lenses to the more fancy transition ones that get darker by themselves depending on the amount of direct sunlight they get, these special versions often come at a pretty heavy price cost. And even more so if you also want to add some prescription lenses to them. So in that case, it is highly recommended that you get some third-party alternatives instead, such as the ones that I'm using right now from VR Wave. because not only do these type of lenses come in at nearly half the price of those from Meta, they also have a bunch more color options and extra protective filters to choose from. So that means that besides just your standard blue light filter, you could also add things to it like an anti-reflective coating and still save yourself a bunch of money while doing so. And don't worry when it comes to the installation of them, because this is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is just pop the old optics out and snap the new ones right into place. And either way, I'll make sure to leave a link to these ones as well as the glasses itself down in the description below, together with some nice discounts whenever available. So make sure not to miss out on those. But that also gets us to number 8, which is personalizing the Meta AI voice. And this is actually a pretty cool feature that I sadly only found out about way later, since it is pretty easy to miss inside your settings. So to find it, go to the Meta AI tab and click on Languages and Voice option. And in here, you will be able to change the basic AI voice to something a lot more interesting, such as John Cena himself, or one of the many other interesting choices that you have on this list. And these special built-in voice choices also seem to change every now and then. But luckily, they will always keep those more basic options available that go from the more darker tones to light, which is pretty much the default that you already have from the start. And talking about some more hidden features, there are also a couple of cool things that your Meta AI can do that not a lot of users know about. For example, thanks to a couple of updates that we've gotten since launch, you can now ask it to set a timer for you or even translate something that you're looking at in real time. But maybe my favorite yet the most simple quality of life improvement that we got is the ability to adjust the notification light that blinks on the inside of your glasses every time that you get a message. Because honestly, this one can feel pretty bright, especially when you're in a darker place. So now, it is possible to change these under your notification LED brightness and set this anywhere from low to high, or even just on automatic. Now of course, many of these new functionalities are always added with every update that comes out. So it is also worth it to check out the patch notes whenever they come out and see what has changed. But maybe the most important tip of all is how you can increase the battery life of your RayBan Gen 2 significantly with just some simple steps. Now, while there is the obvious built-in battery saver mode, this one is actually mostly a temporary fix and is often not as efficient as you might hope. And besides that, the secret battery killer that is often draining your battery a lot without you even using it much is the basic Hey Meta feature. So turning this off will already give you a lot of extra juice in the long run. And don't worry, you can still use the Meta AI by simply holding down on the side of the frames as we did before. But another great way to improve your battery, besides of course just turning it off with the inside button when you're not using it, is to switch off the previously mentioned adaptive volume and automatic update feature. Because while a lot of RayBan Gen 2 owners don't even find these functions useful in the first place, they do of course drain your battery drastically. But that is not all. Because if you want to see the real difference between the RayBan Meta Gen 2s and the original RayBan Metas, then click on the video that you see on screen right now to make sure you don't miss out on that. And of course, stay awesome.